Update. Am I the a-hole for being mad at my wife saying breaking up with her ex is one of her biggest regrets? Original post. The other day, my wife was catching up with a friend who started dating someone new. As it turns out, the guy is my wife's ex. That already made me a little uneasy, but I kept quiet. Then her friend mentioned she was having some doubts about him, and right there my wife says, "He is the sweetest and most wonderful guy. Breaking up with him is one of my biggest regrets." I literally said, "Excuse me?" out loud. It just came out. She looked at me confused, like she didn't get what the problem was. I gave her a moment to process what she just said, and when she didn't, I told her, "Never mind," and let her finish the conversation. Her friend left shortly after. We talked later, and she said she didn't really mean it, that she just got caught up in the moment. But honestly, it didn't make me feel any better. I've been distant ever since. I feel angry, but mostly I just feel hurt, unloved, disrespected. How am I supposed to hear my wife call another man the sweetest and most wonderful guy and say she regrets breaking up with him and not feel crushed by that? She's frustrated with me now, saying I'm dragging this out and making it bigger than it needs to be. She says she's sick of talking about it, but she still hasn't apologized. She keeps insisting I misunderstood, that it's not what she meant. I don't want to get divorced over this. We've agreed to go to counseling because I at least want to try to fix this. But the truth is, I've never felt this lonely in our marriage. I look at her and feel like a stranger. I just want to know, am I the a-hole for not being able to let this go? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Bruh, she can still have fond memories about her ex, but she's with you, so don't trip my dude. There's a huge difference between having fond memories and considering her breakup to be one of her biggest mistakes. If she never made that mistake, we'd never be together. Seriously, it's one thing to say he was the sweetest and nicest guy and would make someone extremely happy, but we just didn't click and wouldn't have worked out long term, and what she said. That's like reminiscing about your younger days in front of your kids and saying, "Damn, life would be so much more fun if I never had kids." I bet her friend felt same way as you. Like you, realized exactly what that meant and what it implies if your wife is around her boyfriend going forward. Probably why the friend left shortly afterwards. That's what made it even worse. Her friend caught on right away. I saw the look on her face when she turned to look at me. Even she understood what my wife said before my wife. "Yeah, I wouldn't let that go. You deserve an answer." Her friend kind of deserves an answer too, to decide if she can even keep her around anymore. I don't think your wife has a good explanation, and I'd keep pressing her for an answer before she has time to come up with an obvious lie. I'd be asking her if you need to go to marriage counseling to sort this out, or if you need to break out the old Crayolas and draw her a picture to show just how big of a screw-up she made. There's clearly an answer, a long and involved one, that she owes you, and she is probably scared crapless to give it. I'm sure her friend isn't going to let her anywhere near her or her boyfriend right now either. That is one of the dumbest statements you could ever make to your spouse and expect to sweep under the rug. That's up there with, "Let's have an open relationship," or "He's only a friend, but I screwed up," and "You don't need intimacy in a marriage because I say, not we say, we are too old and done." I'd be sleeping on the couch for the foreseeable future until my spouse actually apologizes and explains to me in great detail what they meant. Good luck. Now for the update 3 months later. We are separated now. We have been having trouble finding a counselor that we are both comfortable with, and fights have happened more often. I gave up on my marriage when she said that her ex probably wouldn't be such a whiny baby and that she was right in regretting breaking up with him. I think she realized what she said, and she tried to take it back. She said, No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I was already halfway done with this marriage. After hearing that, I don't think we can come back from this. I'm speaking to a divorce lawyer. I feel terrible. I feel like an idiot. I feel so alone right now. I just don't know how to feel. Honestly, posting this helps a bit. Helps gets my thoughts together. Listen to your lawyer. Focus on finding a counselor for yourself. If you can, try to get away for just a weekend without her. Good luck. Agree on all points. I would just add, dude, you're not alone. You're free. Do all the stuff you gave up for your marriage. All the things she didn't like but you do. All the food she didn't like but you do. All the music she didn't like but you do. All the places and people she didn't like but you do. Now is the time to put yourself first in everything. In her own words, she never knows when she's onto a good thing, so she's going to be the one regretting this when it all shakes out. You are, quite frankly, too good for her. She keeps saying awful things, and then that she doesn't mean it like that? What does she mean then exactly? She means the things she says, but only if she doesn't face the consequences. I hope OP finds someone better. He doesn't deserve to be second best in his wife's heart. Your soon-to-be ex is a special kind of stupid. She said something that kills most marriages and had plenty of time to think about what she said, then went ahead and doubled down. That is a special kind of stupid. I think she enjoys hurting you. Good luck in your divorce. You will thrive in the years to come. There are more women out there. Other women are the last thing in my mind right now. Next story. Am I the a-hole for threatening to ban my mother from my wedding and meeting her grandchild if she doesn't cut off my ex-girlfriend? I, 28 male, am marrying my fiancée Maddie, 24 female, this November, and we're expecting our first son in February. Prior to my current partner, I dated my ex-girlfriend Adriana, 29 female, for 5 years. Things did not end well with that relationship. She was upset that I was taking too long to marry her and that I wanted to make a career change after realizing I hated my career in human resources. 2.5 years ago, she broke up with me, despite me telling her that I was close to proposing. I just wanted to finish school for my new career in healthcare first. It tore me up for a long time, especially since during our relationship, she became very close to my family, particularly my mom. That meant I couldn't even get away from her at some family events. 2 years ago, I met Maddie at a work function, and we hit it off immediately. We moved in together within 6 months. I proposed within a year after achieving the career path I wanted, and a couple of months ago, we found out she was pregnant. I couldn't be happier with how things have turned out for me. Adriana, upon learning how fast things moved with Maddie, went ballistic. She called me and said I was a piece of crap who used her and led her on, and she said many vile things to me. She started saying awful things about me to any mutuals who would listen, and even began leaving negative reviews at the hospital where I work, naming me directly. Those eventually got taken down, but it was incredibly embarrassing. I spoke with a lawyer to see what my options were, but he said I didn't have many. Last week, after having dealt with this for a while, I ran into her at my mom's birthday party. At the party, she accidentally spilled a drink on my fiancé, and during a speech about my mother, she sniped at me by saying, "I love this wonderful woman, and I'm glad she gave birth to 3 wonderful children," while glaring at me. My mom had 4 kids. When she left, she also accidentally dinged my car with her driver's side door. After she left, I sat down with my mother and said that Adriana was making my life harder for no reason. I listed everything mentioned above and asked her not to invite Adriana to events anymore. She pushed back, saying Adriana had been a decent friend to her and that she liked Adriana's mother, so it would be difficult to cut her off. I said I understood that, but as her son, I was asking her to support me when someone is mistreating me. She said we'd talk about it further. Yesterday, I found out Adriana was coming to my youngest brother's track tournament. I called my mom and asked her to uninvite Adriana. She said she couldn't. I said, "Let me make this more clear for you then. If you are saying yes to her, you are saying no to me. If you decide to support her in this, you can consider yourself uninvited from my wedding and not a part of the family I am building. You can also say goodbye to meeting your first grandchild." She called me mean and cold. I said I was serious about this. The fallout from this has been more than I expected. Adriana went nuts when my mom cut her off, and a bunch of mutuals are saying I'm a massive a-hole for destroying the relationship between my mom and Adriana. My mom is pretty upset with me, but I know she'll eventually come around. My fiancé is happy that I'm standing up for her and for us. My question is, did I go too far? Am I the a-hole for threatening to cut off my mom if she didn't cut off Adriana? Edit. I'd like to clarify the timeline with Adriana. 2.5 years ago, she dumped me. About 6 months later, I started dating Maddie. 6 months in, we moved in together. And another 6 months later, I proposed because I knew she was the one for me and we were stable. I never led Adriana on. At the beginning of our relationship, I felt I was too young to get married, and toward the end, I didn't want to marry until I had broken into the career I wanted. The reason I felt comfortable proposing to Maddie quickly was because I had achieved career stability. Had I met Maddie 5 years ago, I would not have proposed due to my circumstances at the time. I feel I've done nothing wrong in ensuring I was stable and ready for marriage before proposing to someone, and Adriana breaking up with me when I was on the cusp of achieving that is on her. Now for the top comments. Dude, not the a-hole. Who your mom chills with is her business, but when it starts messing with your life, lines gotta be drawn. Adriana sounds like she's running the Psycho X playbook page by page. Mom's gotta choose. It ain't about destroying a relationship. It's about protecting your family. She'll come around. Good on you for standing up for your lady and your kiddo. Keep that up, bro. Exactly. Mom could have still met up with Adriana outside of family events, as she's no longer family. I don't take my friends to family events either. Gosh, that'd be awkward if everyone did that. Also, she spilled a drink over a pregnant woman. What's next? Making her trip? Shoving her down the stairs? Yeah, that's what I don't get. You want to keep a relationship with this girl? Fine. Get your mani-pedis. See each other for lunch. That's whatever. There's no reason for her to be coming to holidays and birthday parties, etc., especially if she's causing issues for your son. It's weird. Your mom and Adriana are idiots. Let them be together and uninvite them from your wedding. If this keeps going, then go no contact. My mom cut off Adriana begrudgingly, so I won't cut her off. I love my mom, and without her, I wouldn't have access to see my youngest brother who I love to death. I'd get a dash cam for my car that can record when the car is turned off. They have to be wired into the dash, but have controls so they don't drain your battery. Then you can catch her damaging your car and call the police. Sooner or later, you will likely have some type of problem with the ex that will require police involvement. You need a camera on the front of your home, and if it's a house, you need a camera showing each side of it. You need proof for the police. Don't hesitate to call them when she acts out against you or your wife. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my cheating ex-husband I will never feel bad for him and I will never help him make this better? I, 46 female, was married to my ex-husband John, 48 male, for a decade when I found out he had cheated multiple times with multiple women, one of whom became a fully fledged affair. We had 3 young kids at the time. I found out because I started suffering from some concerning symptoms, went to the doctor, and after some tests, it was discovered I had gonorrhea, which had caused pelvic inflammatory disease. The whole thing was devastating, and John didn't even pretend to be concerned about me. He was more concerned about his affair partner, Kathy. The two of them married after the divorce, and I had to pick up the pieces, deal with the consequences of John's cheating and his lasting gift, and help my kids deal with the divorce, all while having to be civil in front of the kids, which killed me. I had minimal contact with John and Kathy. I refused to speak to either of them unless I had to. A few times, they attempted additional contact with the aim of us being friends, but I shut that down and told the two of them to rot in hell. The kids had a good relationship with their dad until a few years ago. John and Kathy were unable to have children together. I believe she had miscarriages and stillbirths, and my kids felt there was pressure on them to gather around them and love Kathy, so she'd still feel like a mother. But none of them had a close relationship with her, and they felt like their dad was manipulative about it. So they started going to his house less and gradually faded away. My youngest graduated in May and didn't invite John or Kathy. There were discussions about it, but ultimately, he decided he would prefer to focus on his achievement and not the drama. John attempted to get me to force my youngest's hand, and he tried to throw a pity party about their losses, and Kathy's love for the kids, and her losing the chance to be a mother. I blocked him after several text messages about this. Now he's shown up at my house, trying to make me feel bad for him and Kathy by talking about all their losses and asking me to help him make this better. What he really wants is for the kids to come back into his and Kathy's lives and for me to encourage them to love both of them, to let them, but especially Kathy, feel like she won't miss out on all the motherly experiences. He wanted me to treat her like their other mother and present a united front, so that when weddings and babies come along, she'll be included and equal in all of it. I had no patience for his request, and even though he was already upset talking about the losses, I was not kind when I told him to get away from my house and from me. I told him I will never feel bad for him, and that his pity party and attempt to make me responsible for their happiness after the way he treated me was outrageous. I told him he caused all of this and he can fix it himself, but he doesn't deserve a single ounce of kindness or compassion from me after his actions during our marriage. He tried to argue, but I closed my front door, and he left after that. I was on good terms with John's sister after everything went down, but once she heard about our interaction at my house, she turned on me. She told me she understands me hating them, but that John has been broken up about all the losses they've endured, and I could have been a little kinder. She said I should want my kids to have John and Kathy in their lives, and that I should be able to see it would be better for them and future grandkids. I told her I owed the two of them nothing and did not wish for their happiness. She told me I had proven to be spiteful and that I hurt her brother even though the divorce happened more than a decade ago and it's truly in the past. I'm disappointed that relationship broke down, but I feel like it was possibly naive to think it would always survive what happened because John's her brother first. I do value her opinion, or did before this. I disagree with what she said, but I also feel like I shouldn't dismiss it without seeking others' opinions, since I've always valued what she says, even though I believe this is just a loyalty thing at the end of it all. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. He just wants you to fix his failings because he can't be bothered to do it himself. You're not his wife, so that's not your problem. And tell Sissy to buzz off. You don't owe either of them a damn thing. All of this, and I'll add, OP's kids are old enough and making their own decisions. Even if they were married and they were somehow on the same team, OP's kids have made a decision. They don't want to deal with their cheating dad and his wife. Most kids are just not going to feel warmth towards a woman who they feel contributed to breaking up their family. Most of my now adult friends have had a difficult time maintaining a long-term relationship with a parent who cheated. Add to this, the dad and his wife want to do the whole "we're all a big family" thing, which is totally hokey unless everyone is actually feeling it. My first thought: there are so many stories on this hub and others about how it goes poorly when step-parents try to force a close relationship, especially since a few years ago means OP's youngest kid was already in his teens, and I don't know a single teenager who responds well to being pressured into a relationship. Even without the cheating, the kids would have become alienated from John and Kathy through their own doing. If OP tried to stand up for him, they would likely be upset at her too. Probably John caused Kathy's uterine issues with his diseased junk. This is not your problem, OP. Not the a-hole. That's exactly what I was thinking. What a POS. How do men like this keep women? I feel like he kept Kathy because she's as bad as him. She knew he was married and didn't feel guilty about sleeping with him. So it's really no surprise someone like that would stay.